She needs some macaroni and cheese and some Greek rice.
And some broccoli farts.
And some broccoli farts, right.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez Higgins, and Margie is chuckling because I came in with hella aggro energy, given the circumstances of my day, and then we just sat down to try to record, and our platform is providing us with lots of things to test our ability, test my ability. I'm not going to drag Margie into my bullshit. Test my ability to practice acceptance. Turns out I'm failing right now, and that's okay. Yeah.
You're not failing because we're recording.
That's true. We are recording. So
I'm just in total acceptance of my tech ineptitude. And so I just don't fight the system. I'm like, all right, if it's not going to work, then there's nothing I can do because I literally don't understand how this platform works. Hooray.
I like to dig in and get righteously pissed about shit that should be working seamlessly for the amount that I fucking pay for it.
But you also have a better understanding of the technology. So I think you're at a higher likelihood of being irritated by it because you understand that something that should be going right with ease is causing problems. And
Yeah.
it's like a kid throwing a tantrum right before you're trying to get out the door. It's like, really now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got this all pulled together and now you're going to melt down and not put your shoes on. Come on, man.
Yeah. It's been one of those days, man. My husband left for a business trip at 4:30 in the morning. I was supposed to have a day where my child was going to be at school from 8 until 4 because there were sports after school, and he is sick. So it's just, I don't roll with punches. I am not the roll with the punches type. I don't know if it's my ADHD. Probably it is. But I feel very dysregulated, which is actually okay because I don't mind taking this out on Jared and Lisa. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Uh-oh, Margie, you're already stealing
Jared,
yourself. My friends, she's starting.
No, I mean, everybody at this, it's just everybody just, every time I hope there might be some sort of surprise character illuminating moment of a dimension of these people I may not have seen that could be sympathetic. We get an episode like this where I'm like, aha, so everyone is exactly as they have portrayed themselves to be. Jared sitting there on that picnic table with his legs man spread and mirrored sunglasses. I was like, oh no. And that whole scene was just like, God, I don't want to go to this relationship.
I don't
want
either.
to watch it. It sucks. It's what everyone said it would be, and sure is that. And then they were at BravoCon together this weekend.
Which is infuriating to me.
I mean, is it surprising, though?
No, in fact,
the two of them are hopelessly tied in that toxic dynamic. I love that everyone's been putting it on Britani, but I'm like, he's just as culpable. He chased her ass down.
Yeah.
He tells her what she needs to change. It's like, what if
he's
she
an
never
abuser.
does?
He's emotionally abusing her.
But they're both, as my therapist said to me, you're both using each other. When I was in a relationship where both of us kept coming back and there was nothing there.
I agree. I agree in that they're both getting something out of it, but I believe that his manipulation has crossed over into abuse territory. And because of that, I think that informs why she continues to go back. I have notes in it on why and how it supports my feelings about that.
I just take it to the next level where I don't care about the adults. I care about her daughter.
Absolutely.
So she is passing her abuse on to her daughter. So she's forgoing time and energy that she could be devoting to that kid who's begging for it and saying, you need to earn my trust back, to having a meeting in a forest with Jared. And then I don't know.
I know.
It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing.
There were lots of disappointing figures in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the episode we're talking about is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 10, The higher the hair, the closer to God.
Love it.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't qualify. If anyone hears me talking over Margie a little bit, or if we sound out of sync for a minute, it's the platform. It's not me not listening to one of my dearest friends.
Likewise.
Okay? So it's not me being a Lisa fucking Barlow, okay?
We had an
Anyway.
episode a while ago where we were out of sync and it sounded like I just was not listening to you and steamrolling. And I was like, oh my, this is my worst nightmare of myself. I'm grateful I knew there was a technical difficulty, but that's my worst fear, is that I'm that person who's like, yeah. Here's my idea, my point. Yeah.
Same.
Ugh.
And so, of course, I just felt compelled to like qualify it right now, lest anybody think that I don't respect my friend and I don't walk my talk.
Right. After being friends for 25 years,
I know,
today is
dude.
the day where it's
Seriously.
like, wait a minute.
Ay. So we opened this episode at Whitney's house for the high body count Britney support party, high body count hair, Britney support party. And I love a tracksuit. You know this. I love a tracksuit. I feel comfortable. I feel like I'm fooling everybody because I look hella put together because it matches. I take very good care of my tracksuits. And yet I'm wearing sweatpants, to be honest, you know? And so, like, I saw her tracksuit. I fucking
But
loved
it's a
it.
sweatsuit. Okay? It's a suit.
You suit. Yes, focus on
Okay.
suit. I never thought about that. Hello. I regret. I look back at myself. I look back at my wedding specifically. And I thought to myself last night when I was watching this episode for the first time, like, holy shit, why didn't I change into like a fierce wedding tracksuit? And then I thought, I should make these. I should make wedding tracksuits. So the first step is I got to figure out how to do that. And the second step is fucking profit. But like, I'm sorry. If I had like bespoke wedding tracksuits, I think it would kill. I do.
You already have the tailor's chalk.
So TM. Oh, you're right. I have some tailor's chalk.
You're ready for this venture. You've spent this whole Halloween preparing for it.
I mean, and I love to do R&D on tracksuits. I do. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Nobody called.
It was
for that.
cute, though. I loved her
so
tracksuit.
cute. So cute.
And it's all the things you were saying. It looked classy and comfy. And
Yep.
that's where it's at.
Yep. So it's a surprise potluck. The cast is, the cast shy of Lisa and Meredith. They are gathering at Whitney's to comfort Britney with comfort foods. And Angie has brought supplies so that everyone can have high body count hair. She's brought her styling supplies to do that in Brit's honor. And both Angie and Mary in their respective confessionals share similar feelings that even though they haven't necessarily had an easy row with Britney, they still feel very badly for her because of what happened on the plane last episode, and they want to offer support. And I thought that was very, very kind. I don't see Lisa being capable of doing something like that, of rising above, of putting things in perspective and having sympathy and empathy.
And it just drove home to me how completely fucked up whatever happened on the plane was. I've been listening to podcasts of other Bravo recappers and stuff, and everyone's like, why didn't the producers pull out a camera? Like, if that's going down. Have you ever been in a plane when someone's having an actual meltdown? Like, it's terrifying. You just want to get on the ground safely. And Meredith was telling everyone, show me your phone, show me the TikTok on your phone. I'm not going to jeopardize my own fucking health and safety for a shot for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, I feel like it was that scary where people were like, do not poke the bear or the plane could go down. Like, she's that fucking unhinged, you know?
We saw how unhinged she got last season when
Yeah.
Britney was recording her.
Yeah. And this is on a plane, like
Yeah.
a tube in space. Like, you don't want to, I don't know. I understand that everyone's like, why didn't we get to see it? And I'm like, because if you were on that plane, you would have had your hands in your lap and your head down too, just praying to touch the ground safely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit freaks me out. When people freak out in a confined space, I just am like, I can't imagine anything scarier. What?
Just Meredith's behavior from what the cast has told us is like infinitely less terrifying than that woman who was on the plane and she was like, that motherfucker is not real. God bless. I never want anyone to be in mental health distress.
I just don't ever want to be on that plane. If I'm on that plane and someone is seeing ghosts and yelling at them, I'm literally like, someone sedate her and get this plane on the ground immediately. Because that's the kind of person who will open the emergency door.
Yeah, dude.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people are like, if you're not thinking clearly, you do insane shit. And I don't trust Meredith not to put everyone in danger when she feels threatened.
Somebody on Reddit, again, I don't have it on my phone anymore, but I do dip in for an occasional treat on my laptop. It's very unsatisfying, but someone said that they were there, and the thing that sucks is that they weren't willing to share specifically who they were referring to when they said this, but they said that the event they went to, somebody clearly needs to go to rehab, and they wouldn't be surprised if they would be in the near future. And people were speculating, like, is it Meredith? Is it Meredith? Is it Meredith? Because I think they were with Salt Lake City people.
There's a lot of DJs who wind up in rehab. I'll just throw that out there. There's a lot of DJs in the Bravo sphere who could stand some support on that front.
Girl.
Kyle, Dorinda, Meredith.
Yeah.
They're all DJs now.
Does everyone know that Dorinda is now, she just started an Instagram page a couple days ago that's called Lady Medley, which is, Medley is not a bad name for DJ Lady Medley for a DJ. But yeah, she's a DJ now. Because listen, I'm a fucking DJ too. I made a holiday music list that I will link to, I don't know, maybe in a couple weeks. It doesn't fucking matter. But what I'm saying is it's so good. Like, I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ. DJ Lady Higgy. There you go.
I mean, but I just get mad. It's why I thought whatever, I won't go too deep into this, but it's why I'm mad that people call Hamilton a rap musical. Hamilton is not rap. It's a rhythmic patter song that goes on for way too long. Rap is, you know, I always say I was mad at Hamilton for taking that marketing approach because it came out the same year as Straight Outta Compton, which was the biopic about NWA. That's rap, okay? And so for these women to call themselves DJs and like put on a set of headphones and press play on a playlist, that's great. Even if it's a great playlist, here for it. But a DJ, like, if I watch these TikTok videos of real DJs who play instruments that they loop into existing songs that they mix with like shit from all different eras, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, it's an art. It's a hard, complex, musical, mathematical art. So I'm happy that Dorinda and Meredith and Kyle have an outlet, but like, I'm gonna have a hard time. I'm gonna have a hard time calling Hamilton rap, and I'm gonna have a hard time calling Miss Medley a DJ.
Everyone just got a lesson in what you learn when you go to Michigan.
That's true.
And,
it's your
and
school
you didn't
of
have
music
to pay,
experience,
and you didn't have
baby.
to pay tuition. None of y'all had to pay tuition.
That's music theory, honey.
Professor McGee just dropped it. Yeah, dude, seriously. And I'm not happy for them. I think they're lame.
I don't mind. I'm all for a great playlist. I just have I just get my hackles up when people use names that don't belong to the craft they're actually participating in. She's a great mixtape maker, but
yeah, seriously, same. Anyway, Britani arrives and she is viscerally touched that the cast has gone to these lengths. Bronwyn has brought a DIY personalized Teddy Ruxpin bar so they can all record messages and stick them in a plushie a la Jared's uni. And Bronwyn tells us in her confessional that this is her way of making amends. She feels like her actions on the yacht may have contributed to what happened on the plane. I loved that she was very specific about what she was doing. This is such a stark contrast to when Lisa says later in her conversation with John, I always apologize. Bitch, apology means that you actually do something to repair after the fact. Saying I'm sorry is bullshit if there's nothing behind it. I don't fucking care. If you don't practice repair in what you did, it's not a complete apology. Words mean shit. Actions mean it all. That is where it happens.
Well, and I thought it was interesting that Bronwyn, this is a 180 from where she was last episode. She was one of the people going like, I don't believe it. Someone would have recorded it. I would have recorded it. And it's like, if this many women are this affected by whatever the fuck happened on that plane, so much so that they're, like you said, enemies of Britney's are uniting to throw her a party to make her feel special, including Mary, who still has her boundaries up as this scene goes on. But she showed up on time, participated to the best of her honest ability. And that, again, it just to me solidifies that whatever happened on that plane was like traumatic and impactful and enough to make people go like, Britani needs some, personalized special time and attention. And they really gave it to her.
She needs some macaroni and cheese and some Greek rice.
And some broccoli farts.
Right. So they record their respective messages, they put them in their plushies, and then they gather on the couch where Britani plays their messages of love and support one by one. Mary's, to the best of her ability, her recording is just static. So she hit record, but she didn't actually put a note in there, which is very
appreciate that
authentic.
honesty.
Exactly.
Yep. And I actually appreciated Britani in that moment. And Bronwyn trying to find a shine on it. She's like, well, at least it wasn't negative. And Britani like said, thank you. Like there was an opportunity to be a petty see you next Tuesday. And instead she just kept it quiet. She gave her the stuffy and left it there.
Totally. So in her confessional, Mary says that, yes, I have a problem with Britani. And then we see a flashback to the yacht trip where Britani told Mary she was the most unchristlike person she'd ever met, which is definitely hitting below the belt because Mary is the head of a church. The head of a church, a pastor, a preacher,
all of it. She's like a fucking heiress. Yes. And the rector and like, I don't know what it's called. Yes, 100%.
But Mary, to what you just said, Margie, she is being cordial because of how Mary treated Britani on the plane. She's not going to be a fake friend. She's not going to record a message that is not true. She's going to be authentic to their relationship and herself, but she's still there. Actions speak louder than words.
She showed up. Mm-hmm. That's everything.
So Whitney tells her castmates that what she sees in the room are a core of women that she can respect and feel safe with. Meredith crossed a line, and she's going to have a hard time coming back from that.
This, again, I will believe it when I see it. Because, again, they all just spent a weekend together at BravoCon, and nobody's drawn a line in the sand. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay,
totally,
guys,
totally,
whatever.
totally. So Bronwyn tells the group that Meredith reached out to her. Meredith said, I don't know what everyone was talking about my behavior on the plane. She tells Bronwyn that she never spoke directly to Britani. She was only having a calm conversation with Lisa. And Mary says, that's the same thing she told me. Meredith told Bronwyn she was mad at and said awful things about Britani, but that she and Lisa didn't do anything to her.
And again, the way both Meredith and Lisa continue to repeat that refrain, it's just less believable every time they land on it. I'm like, you guys are bad liars, especially in the face, because you can see in the faces across from them, the rest of the castmates are like, we know, we were there. So you can keep saying this for the cameras, but like, wow, what a weird fucking way to dig in, you monsters.
Exactly. So Whitney is appalled when she hears that Meredith is just wildly disconnected from what happened in real life. And she says that she thought Meredith was crazy for the screaming on the plane, but completely denying everything that she did is a whole other level. And she is trying to reconcile her feelings about Meredith and Lisa. Like, where do we go as a group from here? And Heather pipes in and says that Lisa is completely fucking crazy. And Lisa told Heather she's not going to be responsible for anything that went down on that plane, which Heather told her she was rewriting history. And Lisa wanted to force Heather to believe her version of the events. Heather still thinks that both Meredith and Lisa are in the wrong, but at the end of the day, this I didn't like. She said at the end of the day, they all have history and shared experiences, and those things make her want to ride hard for the both of them, but she can no longer do that if they can't acknowledge what they did was wrong and make amends. She theorizes it might take everyone in that room pushing back that their accounts that they're holding to are not actually what happened on that plane. And Mary agrees with her that the only way they're going to learn is if everyone in that room pushes back. And in Britani's confessional, she says, if neither of them take accountability, there's no moving forward with them. And I was like, Britani, I'd love to see that energy with Jared. But again, I feel like the scene we saw between the two of them later has me understanding more why she can't. It's Darvo, and we'll get there.
What's Darvo? Sorry, I'm an
Darvo
idiot.
is deny, attack, reverse victim, and offend.
An abuse equation or something?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So Whitney turns to Bronwyn and she says, I noticed that you're not wearing your wedding ring. And Bronwyn fills the group in why, which is what she told Whitney last week, that when she landed from traveling back from the yacht trip, she was met with a Twitter shitstorm of people saying that they saw Todd on a plane looking at pictures of women online that were not Bronwyn. In Heather's confessional, she says that she feels terrible for Bronwyn and acknowledges that especially after Bronwyn was so vulnerable with the cast last year about the vulnerabilities in her and Todd's marriage. And I felt heartened by Heather to say this. Like, I know she's got a lot of faults that keep being more and more apparent, and she speaks out of both sides of her mouth, but I do get the sense that she really does feel for Bronwyn in this instance.
And just in case nobody saw, Bronwyn admitted last season that there was infidelity in their marriage before. And it was exactly this circumstance where Todd was on an iPad communicating with a woman outside the marriage, and her daughter, Bronwyn's daughter, saw that communication over his shoulder. So it's literally the PTSD of the setup is like, of course Bronwyn flipped out, because it's exactly what he did the last time he did have an actual affair. And I'm unconvinced that he's not constantly having affairs. You know what I mean? And I'm with Bronwyn. I'm sure if he would just talk to her about it and come to an agreement about it, she would find a way to make it work. Divorce is really painful and exhausting and expensive. And I'm sure they could find their way to an arrangement that works for them. Anyways, Britani, in classic Britani form, just jokes with Bronwyn that if she does wind up getting rid of her rings, can she have one of them? And Bronwyn agrees, and that's on camera, and I'm afraid Britney's going to try to hold her to it, and it's so rude.
Oh my God. I was like, way to read the room, dude. Like, she just shared about the fact that, I mean, she's having really intense conversations and talking about a subject that people don't really talk about a lot. We saw that a little bit in Summer House last season, and oh my God, I wish I could remember that dear guy's name. I loved him. Shit.
Imral?
Imral. Yeah. Imral was openly sharing about his lifestyle, only to be met with fucking patriarchal, colonialist, puritanical views about relationships.
By all the fuckboys in the house
Exactly.
who've cheated on the people who they claim, instead of just being open and saying, like, I'm not going to commit to anyone, I'm going to stick it in wherever I want, which was Imral's philosophy, and everyone was on board. Every single girl that entered that bed knew the deal and left comfortable with that choice.
Exactly. And, you know, here Bronwyn is telling these people and telling all of us, if that's what he wants, I'm gonna try whatever.
She said, I'll go as far as I'm comfortable with to make this work. And I thought that was like a really, like, what more could you ask for from a spouse?
Agreed.
And if they hit the point of discomfort, then that will honestly end the relationship. And that's also fine. She's making it as easy as she can on Todd, who's repeatedly done things that are like pretty fucking traumatizing.
Yeah. And it might not even end the marriage. They might just have to renegotiate after some trial and error and go like, hey, I'm comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with this. Are you willing to live with those in those parameters? If yes, let's great. Let's go. If not, then we decide what we're going to do from there. So
yeah. There was a therapist who would always say you have to earn your way out of your marriage. If you've made your commitment to your partner, that's okay if it won't go the distance. And you can only do what's on your side of the street. And I feel like Bronwyn's really doing that. And I can't tell with Todd. I don't think he's terribly comfortable on camera. So maybe they're having more fruitful conversations behind the scenes.
Oh, my God.
The next scene is Mary and Robert Jr. arriving at Mary's newly remodeled church. She will be having their first service there in 2 years. I didn't realize that renovation had taken that long. He's really sweet. Like, they have a really sweet mother-son relationship, and he's really trying to like be on board. She's like, wow, all of the upgrades look great. And he's like, yeah, the golden arches, because there's like gold painted to line the arches at the top of the building. But it just sounded like McDonald's to me. And I love how Mary addresses him. I love the way she asks questions of her son, who is a recovering, meaning in and out of sobriety, addict. She says to him, where are you spiritually right now? And I thought that was, instead of like, are you sober? Any of those condemning questions that just shut people down are just, she bypasses all of those and goes to such a gentle conversation starter. And then he talks about how when he went to Malibu, which was where he was in rehab, he said they had these AA things. I mean, he's a kid and it was his first introduction, to 12-step meetings. And he's right. They center around defining a higher power and reaching out to some power greater than yourself to restore you to sanity, to bring you freedom from whatever addiction is plaguing you. And he said he already knows who his higher power is, while others struggled with that concept. And I bet if he had a sponsor, they would challenge Robert on that and say, like, are you sure your higher power is expansive enough? Because I've been told that you have to, fire a higher power that doesn't work for you and rehire a new one. That was too harsh for me. So I needed the language of like expand the version of your higher power to be free of judgment and be so stoked for you to have like everything that you really truly want, without any judgment attached to it. And I feel like Robert had a very specific higher power that he was operating from, and I'm not sure it's serving him in his recovery, but that's his journey, whatever.
I remember hearing in meetings, I heard it not frequently, but, I heard it over the years, is that sometimes people that had the concept of God that was given to them from their upbringing in a church, they definitely had to reassess that and let that go.
And it can change on a daily basis, and it doesn't have to be spiritual all the time. It can just be, they use the acronym good, orderly direction, which is, like just do the next right thing to serve your recovery. Whether or not you wind up doing drugs after that is not the point. You always say it, wherever two or more are gathered, there is whatever a higher power is to you, good, orderly direction or community or someone who wrote the 12 steps without me needing to be alive or contribute, that have saved a bunch of people, whether or not they do it for Robert or me or anyone else. It's not relevant.
I remember when I would be struggling with, like, if I was feeling really in a hole that I couldn't get out of or in the depths of pain and just had no hope that it would pass. Obviously, if I was in that place, that meant I was struggling with really having faith that my higher power, as I understood it, would actually be there for me. And sometimes I would have to just think to myself, okay, what is something that is bigger than me, that I can't control, that no other human being can control? And for me, it was often the ocean. Like, no one can do shit to fight the ocean. The ocean is always going to win. That doesn't sound like very higher powerish, but what I'm saying is that it's a bigger concept. It's bigger than me, and it's a force that cannot be controlled.
It's bigger than the science that does control it, because people will say like, well, the moon, the gravity of the moon is what affects the tides. Okay, can you control the moon? No. It's like you can keep sciencing it to death until you get to like, there's got to be a place where something other than you got to work and made tides or the moon or gravity or a universe. It's like nobody's figured it all out.
So sometimes the ocean would become my higher power if I didn't feel that the higher power that I had been working with was actually keeping me afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't care for, you're right. Like when you bring in the perspective that he's a kid going to rehab for the first time, that made me shift my perspective. But when I first heard him say AA things instead of meetings, I was like, that is so detached. And then when he said the other people that were in the meetings were like, they're powerless, that also struck me as being very detached and separate. It felt to me like it was laced with denial versus surrender, which is fine.
But he's very honest and Mary's very honest. He's still in and out of active addiction. Like, and as they say, especially with drugs and alcohol, relapse is part of recovery. That's why I appreciate Mary for like, she brought him to church anyway. She expressed that he could carry the message to his friends anyway, the people who struggled with a higher power. She's like, you can plant the seed and tell him to pray. She's not putting it on him. But I also appreciated him for being like, I don't want to bug him. Like, I don't want to force that down their throat. And I was like, good for both of you guys. Good boundaries.
Totally.
Everybody.
Totally. Mary tells him that she's going to be bringing her castmates to church on the day that they reopen because they all need help.
I did love that she like has this like super gentle approach to Robert Jr. and then all of a sudden just immediately takes the inventory of everyone in her cast. She needs God, she needs Jesus, she needs her mind right, she needs to be saved. Pray for them. And I was like, Mary.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what
also
about
she's not
you?
wrong.
No, 100%. No, listen, but that's the whole thing of taking an inventory. It's like you can be totally right. And also, when there's one finger pointing out, there's three coming back at you, girl.
Totally.
I wanted to touch on one more thing in this scene. I loved this that Mary said that they're in the midst of Robert finding his destination or wherever his journey goes in his sobriety. And I just thought that was such a gentle way to encourage someone to stay on the path of recovery, as opposed to saying like, he failed, it's not working. It's like, it is. They say sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, and often it is slowly. And I think he's so young. It would be so hard to tell a young person to like give up the only things that have made you feel good at this stage of life. And then my little hackles went up when Robert Jr. said that everyone he was cool with in recovery, they've all since relapsed. And that made me sense, again, because I've had lots of addicts in my life, that this is Robert Jr. testing the waters with Mary to be like, and either I already have or I'm gonna, and I just
Yeah.
want you to like get familiar with whatever feelings are coming up right now because I'm not done, you know?
And speaking of, I forgot to mention this earlier. Robert Jr. was just arrested last week for the second time this year. He was arrested in September. And then a few weeks ago, he was arrested for violating the order of protection that his estranged wife, Alexiana, was granted in September. And what breaks my heart even more is that it was Alexiana's 12-year-old, very much a young child. It was her younger brother that was the one that saw Robert Jr. outside their house.
Her younger brother?
Yeah. He saw Robert Jr. outside the house. He heard loud banging. I guess Robert Jr. was kicking the siding of the house, kicking his mother-in-law's car. And so the 12-year-old brother called his parents, and they called 911. The cops arrived. He resisted arrest. They chased him. Things got physical. And they couldn't really restrain him without the help of the father-in-law once the father-in-law came home. So he was charged with like 5 things and held without bail because they said he had an elevated risk of committing a violent crime. And I feel for everybody, but I mostly feel gutted for that 12-year-old boy who must have felt so traumatized from that.
I mean, that's why they say like alcoholism or addiction is a family disease. It
Yep.
touches everyone who does firsthand encounter the addict or secondhand, thirdhand. That trauma has a long reach. God, and that story you just told reminded me of and gives me a little bit of hope. Remember Garcelle told the story about her son who came to her house and tried to break in and was begging for her to let him in.
Oliver,
Yeah, but Garcelle
Yeah.
knew he was high and had to call the police on him. And it was like the hardest thing she's ever had to do. And it took him some time to find his way to sobriety, but he did. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
addiction is so gnarly. It's such a liar. It's like you won't ever feel good unless you have this substance.
Oh my God.
You'll feel like medium at best, but you'll never feel good, you know? And it just takes a while to like trust that there's something beyond chasing a high, you
Totally.
know, a
Totally.
long while. So anyways, I have hope for Robert Jr. And I think Mary is giving him the best, you know, runway she can to keep up some sort of path to sobriety.
I mean, she sounds, I'm not saying she has been dabbling with Al-Anon, but some of the concepts in which she's speaking, like some of the language she's using, it sounds aligned with Al-Anon principles
Yeah.
of, you know, can't control it, can't cure it, didn't cause it. That probably isn't the order that you say it, but that's the gist.
And I did love, she also said to Robert, you never go dark where you think you can't change something, you know, that nothing's impossible. And I thought that was like and I hope she applies it to herself, I guess is my point. You never go dark, even if you think you can't change something. It's like there's always, we were talking about it earlier this week, that song lyric, I'm stranded with this bitch called hope. It's like, it's not always
Dude.
pleasant to keep it moving. And lots of people want to give up all the time. But sometimes Hope is a delightful house guest, and sometimes she's just a bitch who won't let you take the easy way out.
Which
you know?
is so fucking loving when you think about it.
It
And the
is.
fact that like so many of us inside, like hope is the thing that keeps you just going from minute to minute.
And
That's
she doesn't,
huge.
it doesn't look like Hope. It's not like shiny and
No.
cute. She is a bitch. She's like a rotten tween with her arms crossed and a hoodie on staring at you and like, I'm not leaving this room. I'm not going to leave. And it's
Because
like,
hope is just waiting. Hope isn't relief. Hope is just waiting.
yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's excruciating to have hope sometimes. Hope is a big old spectrum.
Yeah, man.
Dude, we just got deep as shit.
Love it.
So let's take down the deepness and go to Bakery 43 for a frustrating breakfast with Lisa and John. Oh my God. Parts of this conversation were relatable, I'm not going to lie. The parenting dynamics in front of a child can be challenging and triggering.
Yes. Lisa didn't like how John corrected her and suggesting she talk to their son in a different way. We didn't get specifics, but yeah, I think that would be annoying, especially to do it in front of the child, because apparently Henry took dad's side and was like, yeah, you should change it. And it's like, yeah, great. Even if he was right, it's like, don't do this. Well,
I mean, ask me how many times I've had this conversation. Ask
think
me how
it
many times I've
sounds
had it.
like a lot of parents
Probably.
move through this dynamic on both sides at some point along the way of 18 years of trying to raise a human being.
Yeah. So Lisa tells John how irritated she was with him in the car when she was trying to tell Henry, in her words, her thoughts. And John said exactly what I was thinking. Were you telling Henry your thoughts or were you telling Henry how to think? Shots fired.
And the way he phrased that so succinctly, I was like, oh, this has happened a number of times before. So
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
This was nothing that unfolded in this scene was a shock to me at all. It was all just validation after validation after validation of my opinions that I have formed of this woman that have solidified this year.
yeah.
I wonder if she's constitutionally incapable. I'm not kidding. I'm not sure that this woman is capable of humility or empathy. I think that she and Erica Jane, it doesn't manifest the same way, but it's the same essence.
For them.
For them, man. So she insists that she was telling Henry her thoughts, and it bugged her so much when John told her she should say it a different way. And in her confessional, she shares that things are still off with John. She gave Henry advice. John corrected how she did it. And she says, I am a grown woman. I am a mom, and I don't want to be corrected on how I speak to Henry. And my reaction was very strong to this. Like, just because you are a quote unquote grown woman and a mom does not mean you are above someone suggesting that the way you're talking to your child could be phrased in a more kind, loving, accessible way. It's her ego in the driver's seat saying, you don't get to correct me. It's not concern for Henry. It's only concern for how she's looking and being perceived in that moment. And you know how I feel when kids aren't respected. And then she concludes her confessional saying that lately in their marriage, she does feel invisible.
I mean, and neither one of them are doing a great job of communicating.
not at
they're
all.
both just trying to hurt each other because they're at that phase where they could really use consistent outside intervention to help them find their way.
100%.
She says she's a good listener. He says, oh, really? As opposed to saying, like, here's how I feel, like, that's maybe not the case, And then he starts doing a bit on his phone where he's looking at his phone and looking up distracted to say, like, oh, yeah. And I was like, dude, oh, my God. So both of you guys are just not there to have an actual conversation. So they're both just trying to push each other's buttons and piss each other off. And congratulations, it worked. And Lisa winds up in tears in her confessional. And yeah.
I agree. And I am team nobody, but I'm slightly more team John. And I'm so conscious of not coming off as misogynistic and taking the side of a white Mormon man, which is nothing I'm going to ever do in my real life. I'm just going to say that right fucking now. I should be ashamed of myself, to be
shouldn't.
honest.
I just don't know enough. And I find both of them, I don't know what's really going on. I just think they're in a really bad spot, and it's so uncomfortable to watch them communicate because like they just want to harm each other and they're good at it. It sucks.
My point is that like we've seen this woman's behavior over 6 years. We've gotten to know her over 6 years. We've gotten to know what she's shown us. And personally, if it was me on TV, I don't act like Lisa even when cameras aren't on me, but like especially if they were, I think I would try a little bit harder. So maybe she's real high on her own supply and really thinks that her shit doesn't stink. But my feeling is that if I were John, yes, there is no excuse for as passive aggressive as he was being in this scene. My feeling is if I'm this triggered by this person that I don't know, other than what she shows me on screen for 6 years, what must he have gone through? And I don't know how much they've tried to communicate. I don't know if he's banging his head against the wall. But like, that was my only thing about being Team John a little bit more, was that like she is so willful and terrible. She's completely incapable of remorse or empathy.
And I don't think this platform has helped with that. He
No,
seems
it's made it worse.
Highly resentful of having to have this conversation on camera, and I don't blame him. And she seems so empowered by it because she has a following and people
love Baby Gorgeous.
Well, and she doesn't need to deal with the reality of her marriage when she's getting a bazillion DMs every day saying like, yes, mother, do it, lady, all the things.
Gross. God. So in her confessional, she said some shit that I could relate to. God damn it. She said what hurt her about the conversation in the car is that she didn't feel validated, and she hates when people do that. And this is where she lost me. She's around a lot of girls that are committed to not seeing her, not understanding her, and not hearing her. But with John, it feels so much bigger and so much more triggering. Okay, relatable, fine. They're not committed to not seeing you, bitch. They are just not going to enable you, and they're just not going to agree with you. Lisa thinks agreement is validation. She thinks understanding is validation, and she thinks that not going against her basically is validation. So this is the story that Lisa tells herself. She gets hurt when she's not validated. Now, as someone whose own story, I'm talking about me, is heavily laced with not being validated, I can relate to that. I also, though, especially in my present day, literally, I am coming to terms with me and how I relate to my story and not being understood by people very near and dear to me and how much pain that causes me. And I am having to take responsibility for the fact that I am contributing to my own pain by believing my story, when really anybody's treatment of me has to do with them and not me. It is not personal. And so the storyteller in me sees the storyteller in her. You know what I mean? So I'm just copying to like what my experience with what she's talking about. However, she doesn't look at shit and I look at shit. So
yes, she just wants him to change and cannot conceive that there's anything going on with her that needs to be addressed, you know?
Yeah.
Because she just keeps talking about how, like, I don't feel hurt anymore. I don't get hugged anymore. I don't this, I don't that. And I'm like, that does break my heart, and it does make sense why you'd cry over that. But, like, maybe what's he not getting? It's sort of like in a partnership, you're allowed to feel your sense of lack, and then it's also sometimes it can be as simple as do unto others. And like, maybe there's something he needs from me that I need to fucking muster some energy and give to him, even though I don't think he deserves it. I don't want to do it. But like, I'm in a marriage, and my experience in relationships is any gesture I made from that place, the dividends were massive and immediate. If I could do anything lightly unselfish, even though I felt like I deserved a whole bunch of shit before I gave any more of my time and energy to this buttwad. Like, there was, you know,
buttwad.
I mean, you know, people appreciate, everybody wants to feel how she wants to feel, how I wanted to feel. Everyone wants to feel seen and appreciated and important and valued. And so sometimes if you guys are just butting heads, all it takes is one person to stop butting heads and do something to make the other person feel valued. Hopefully something a little bigger than a unicorn with a "Good night, baby, you are loved"
Oh my God, dude.
recording. But honestly, look how far that got Jared. All the way to BravoCon, baby.
Holy shit. I mean, I remember being told, and I remember telling people, sponsees, I'm sure you and I had this conversation at some point, probably more than one time. I would say, oh, I want him to do this. I want him to do that. And my sponsor would be like, well, are you doing that? And I'd be like, oh shit, which is exactly what you were just done saying, that you were saying.
And it always feels like I can't do that until they do this. And that is the whole crux of the
Right.
Al-Anon program.
Yeah.
Which is like, you can be happy whether the alcoholic is drinking or not.
Yeah. And also, it is being of service. I'm not just thinking about my experience in this relationship. I am thinking about your experience in this relationship too. You know, and it's so hard because it doesn't come from a selfish place. It comes from I'm talking about me. It came from my need for survival. If I knew where I stood with you, if I knew that you really loved me, if I could feel it, but it made it all about what that person was doing, not about what I was able to do for myself. And it came from a young part. It came from child trauma, obviously. You know, that's where all of our coping skills and defense mechanisms are born. And so they work when we're kids because they're supposed to give us that feeling of safety, as much safety as we can get in chaotic, toxic. Oh shit, am I going to cry? Okay. It's okay if I do. I don't want to ruin my flow because then I'll have to fucking recalibrate to get back. So, you know, we get these coping skills and they tell us that we need to have these certain things in order to feel safe and loved. And then they start to get perversified and they just stop working because they're not supposed to work. It's not real. It's built on sand. But yeah, I don't think Lisa is concerned with how John's feeling. And I think that maybe John may have been concerned with how Lisa felt along the way. And now he's just like, fuck this, man. What am I even doing? And because they're Mormon, they can't do shit about it. Their religion doesn't let them get divorced. Even though she's new Mormon, she's so full of shit.
But I also don't think they should get divorced yet.
No,
I don't feel
agree.
they've earned their way out. Like, I appreciate these scenes in a way just because, like, in my experience, at least in relationships, it takes a while of like living in the problem before I'm finally ready to be like, okay. Like, we either have to do something different or end it. There's a lot of energy and sort of like fucking swimming around in my own self-righteousness and their failures, you know, before I can get to the place where I'm like, let's do something. She is new Mormon, and I do think she would get divorced if she wanted to. But I don't think she wants to. I don't think he wants to. My aunt and uncle didn't talk to each other for 5 years. We didn't see Bruce for 5 Thanksgivings because Trish was so fucking pissed at him. She couldn't be around him. And they're still married and they're best friends. They spend all their time together. But they've been married for like 60 years or some shit. So like 5 years in the grand scheme of things is nothing. But at the time, we all noticed because, you know, Trish and Bruce are a pair and that was weird. But they needed 5 fucking years because they were both miserable at work and they brought it all home and they couldn't stand each other. And so they needed 5 years. And I'm glad that they remained together because the 35 years that followed were amazing.
I need you to write a show where I want to see Trish and Bruce. I want them to be ancillary characters. I need Trish and Bruce. I
love
need to
Trish
see
and
it.
Bruce. They're the
I do.
best. They're amazing.
Oh my God. So they kind of like are like back and forth. You don't listen. You don't listen. And he says what I said a couple episodes ago. I feel like you want me on your page and that's it.
And I think that he nailed it.
Yep, exactly.
And if she would admit that, when she can admit that, they will have some solid ground to start working from. But as long as she keeps denying shit and making herself the only victim in this relationship, then I am concerned.
Yeah, dude. And he says, you don't see it. You don't see it, meaning she doesn't see her behavior. And I was like, again, I just felt validation after validation in the scene. I need to get a life. I need to get a life. Anyway, And, we see all of the greatest hits of someone that's completely fucking selfish, which is not listening to someone. You're just waiting for them to stop speaking so you can get your fucking opinion in.
She doesn't even wait.
No.
She just overtalked him. He's like, you don't let me finish. And she was like, I'm just trying to. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about. She's like, and he's like,
Yeah.
He could not he couldn't complete a sentence. She doesn't wait. Yeah, she's really struggling to find a different way to proceed here. So, yikes.
He theorizes that part of their problem is that they're both so ingrained in their shared businesses that that's all they talk about. And it's almost like there's nothing else to talk about. And this shakes her to her core. She's shocked. It's as if she feels like this has never crossed her mind before.
Which is terrifying. If I'm John, because she was like, are you sure? And he's like, I don't see how you could see this any other way.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. That's when you know that you guys have like diverged severely. Like, that's scary.
And so this is again why I am team nobody, but slightly like a quarter teaspoon more team John, because at least he has fucking awareness of what's happening. And she is just like willfully shut off to seeing it. Again, is she constitutionally incapable of not seeing her part? I don't know.
It's starting to bleed into all the other areas of her life. Like this bullying event on the airplane, I'm sure is not unrelated to whatever feelings have been unmanaged in this marriage, and now it became Britney's problem. Again, I'm not a Britney fan either, but like, don't punch down just because you're too chicken shit to work on your marriage. Come on, man.
Seriously, man.
Take a 5-year Trish and Bruce break.
Yeah. And that was my like last note. I'm like, bruh, marriage is work. You got to put in work. Relationships can atrophy just like muscles from lack of care. Your garden will get weedy if you don't take care of it. It's the same fucking thing.
It's also okay if your garden has become a whole tangle of weeds, as long as you blink and go like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We got to start weeding this slowly. Because this
Yeah.
has gotten way out of control. Like, it's not just about staying on top of it so it never happens. It's like, it's going to happen. And the only thing you can do when it does is like live in reality and be like,
Totally.
oh, we have a real problem here. So let's get to work.
And ask a gardener for help. Ask a gardener to come help.
100%.
I don't know, man. Anyway, via con motherfucking Dios with the two of them. I would be mortified if I were Lisa Barlow watching myself on camera. I would be mortified.
I mean, all of these couples were hard to watch.
Oh, Jesus. Especially this one. I am so frustrated with Britney. I was so frustrated seeing her with him at BravoCon. And I also know how hard it can be to extract yourself from someone whose abuse is manipulation. He might not raise his voice. He might not physically harm her, but he is abusing this woman. And because of that, I have a hard time being angry at her for staying. When people are leaving physically abusive relationships, I have read over and over and over that it takes on average 7 times to leave. It is built into that dynamic that you cannot leave. And everyone's like, how can you not just leave? How can you just not leave? How can you just not leave? Because you are beaten down over and over and over. You are so manipulated every single day, all day, every day, that you can't. So I am frustrated with her for going to BravoCon with him.
But I'm sure he's done the thing to her of like, look, go ahead and leave, but you're 54 years old with kids. Like, good luck. I hope you find someone who's going to love you like I do. I gave you a unicorn.
Totally.
And I'm sure that shakes her to her core. And, she's not yet at the place where it's better to be alone than to be with someone awful.
There is no mistake why he chooses her, because he can manipulate and abuse her.
Yeah, and sleep with whoever he wants on the side. Like,
Exactly.
there's no consequences for this man.
Talk about
anywhere.
projecting. He's pointing a finger. He's accusing her of all this stuff that he is doing. Like, oh, what a piece of shit. He just tests me just like physically. His arms disgusted me in his t-shirt, his fucking leathery, pink, white Mormon man face, his sunglasses, his turquoise ring. He's repugnant. He makes my vagina want to hermetically seal.
Yeah, I struggled with this though, like both of them, because if you're wondering if you're in a toxic dynamic, see if any of these lines that they deliver to each other apply to you, which is, her leaning into him and then both going like, this feels good.
Oh, I was so
And
grossed
then
out.
she's like, I was so traumatized. And he's like, yeah, well, I heard you were flirting with the staff. And she's like, but I was traumatized. It's like, you were flirting with the staff. Like, how's that 30-day break from me going, huh? And then she's like, give me my sweater. And he yanks it away. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so childish and uncomfortable. And then she storms off, but at a pace where she knows he'll stop her. And he does. And I was just like, this is so familiar and sad, but this is shit that I test drove in my 20s. And like,
Sure.
it's really painful to watch it on a 50-year-old woman and a 50-something-year-old, 60-something-year-old man. It's just like, it's a power contest and everybody.
It's abuse.
Yeah, there's what it is.
Britani has so much trauma that is informing the choices that she makes.
And she's 50 and not dealing with it. So I feel for her too.
She is 50 and not dealing with it. And again, she's up against this emotional and mental abuse that like just renders you fucking powerless, dude.
I don't know. I would have hit a lot of break points. If I had a daughter, if I was lucky enough to have like a daughter who loved me and was willing to sit down with me and said, I need you to stay away from men and prioritize me 3 weeks ago. And this is how I'm choosing to spend my time. Like, there's hard choices she could make and she's choosing not to. Maybe that's oversimplifying, but I had to choose to make hard choices to do things differently. And I didn't even have that much at stake. I just was tired of feeling like shit.
Dude, you're so right. And here we are, and we're asking ourselves, why can't Britani just quit this man for her daughter? How many times have children of alcoholics said, why can't my parent just quit alcohol for me? Guess what? No one can quit doing shit for anyone, no matter how gross it looks, no matter how insane it sounds to not quit dating this terrible person at the request of your beloved child. How can you not stop drinking? How can you not prioritize your child over alcohol? The addiction, like the reasons are the same. It doesn't matter what the fucking modality is. You know what I'm saying? Like alcohol, toxic people.
I think I'm having a hard time watching it.
It is very hard time to have compassion with an active alcoholic, and it's very hard to have compassion for someone in a relationship that is this toxic.
But I've been in Al-Anon for a million years. I don't see her even skimming her rock bottom, and that terrifies me.
Obviously, she hasn't.
With Robert Jr., I have a shit ton of compassion. Even for Meredith right now, I'm like wondering if this will be a bottom for her. Like something's amiss. I'm curious about Karen Huger, what she learned from her experience, because it feels like there was a bottom available to them. Whether they choose to do anything from it or not, that remains to be seen. I don't know what Britani's going to have to lose, because like she's already lost everything. I was in a relationship with someone and I didn't know how to be in a relationship. And it was when this person who at that point I wasn't even in love with, I was just dating, but they expressed to me that how I was behaving was hurting them. And I said to them, I don't know how to change what I'm doing. I don't know any other way. And they were like, you got to do something. And that's when I started therapy, because I cared enough that someone said, you're hurting me, and said it like Britani's daughter said to her. And so I guess I just am sort of like, you don't care? You don't really care. And I think I'm really offended by that and I can't get over it. So I hate them both. And I get that he's bigger and he's a man and all that stuff, but like she walked away and she could have kept going. And yet, BravoCon, she's there with him, claiming they're not together, which I also find offensive. Like, just own it. If you're going to be a nightmare, be a big, loud nightmare. But
oh my God.
I can't. Anyways. Ugh.
So he tells her, like what you just said, Margie, you know, he went to Justin's house. Justin told him that Britani was flirting with all the dudes on the yacht. He's clearly like pissed off about it. And he's also telling her this with like a really smug look on his face. Like he's not coming at her with like, oh my God, like I miss you so much. I care about you so much. And I hear you were flirting with other people and like, I want to be with you. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Instead, he's weaponizing it. And I don't think with one atom in my body that he is actually invested in working on this relationship. He just wants to abuse and manipulate this woman. I don't know what need he's fulfilling, but my God. So she earnestly tells him that it's confusing that he's upset about this. And she's trying to explain herself and gets flustered immediately, which is exactly what he wanted to do all along. That is a feature, not a bug. That is not Britani losing track of what she wants to say or like jumbling for words. This is a result of manipulation. They talk about the fact that they've been trying to work this out for 2 years, and she cuts him off and says, "You can't commit. That's why I'm in this state. Like, I'm on quicksand in this relationship." And then he says that she runs every 5 seconds. And he said this, and I wanted to fucking punch my TV. He said, "I'm looking for someone who's stable." No, he's not. He's absolutely not, because somebody stable will tell him to fuck all the way off.
Well, and he said later, he's like, if you can just be stable for a little while, then I'll be your boyfriend. It's like, oh, well, that is a weird bargaining tool. And also, why put that offer on the table? If she's so unstable, walk away.
Yeah,
go away,
exactly.
sir.
Which is why what he's doing is Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim, offend.
They're both doing that. She's doing the same thing. She even says, "What are we doing?" "Well, I guess no answer is my answer. Walk, 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 walk. Victim, victim, victim." And then turns on him. Like, "This is why we break up all the time."
I know.
It's like,
I
oh my
know.
God. But that's what I'm saying. It's a toxic dynamic. One or both of them are going to have to want to let go of it to rip away from it. And neither one of them do. They're, again, as my therapist would say, you're both still clearly getting something out of this. And you're losing a lot in the meantime, but you're not done till you're done.
But he is in control. She's just rendered more and more powerless the longer time they spend together, because he is taking it away from her. And again, I understand she has agency, but emotional abuse, I can't.
I totally understand.
It's complicated.
Of course. I don't know. I hope maybe she gets a look at this and it could shed some light on it for her. But again, I don't know.
I don't either. I don't have a lot of hope, especially after they were at BravoCon. So I could have this fucking figured out all wrong, man. I could have it all fucking wrong.
I don't have anything figured out. I just hate the dynamic, and it doesn't matter. Even if they're both magnanimous, wonderful human beings outside of this relationship, in this relationship, they are the worst versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Ask her daughter, it's not good.
Yeah, so it's just more back and forth. She walks away. He calls after her. He's like, "Oh, what are you going to do? You're going to walk? That's how this is going to end?" Dude, what should she be doing? What should she do? What should she do? Jared, this is a feature, not a bug. And it's your programming, you dick. What I didn't like is that Britani is making it all about him. What do you want to do? And I remember sponsors telling me, Ramona, don't focus on if they like you or what does he want. What do you want? How do you feel? And I was like, that's too much. I can't ask for things because if I have needs, this person will leave. Oh, God.
And this one will. And she's not ready to be alone. So
I appreciated that she told him that, she's sobbing and she's like, "I don't feel safe. What do you want to do?" He vagues her. He gives her a totally vague, unclear, unexecutable answer. Like, "I want to figure this out." What?
And she accepts it. My mom always says in a relationship, you should bring out the best in each other. And they are both, with every prompt, each one is the worst possible version of the response. I'm just oh my God, this is awful.
So it ends with, he says, "You want me to be your boyfriend? How about you be stable for longer than 5 minutes?" Well, then how about you stop destabilizing her? How about you stop behaving in a way that is destabilizing to another person?
Because he's not capable, and she knows that, but she stays.
I know.
So he behaves the same way, and it's just like there's no answer except this needs to be over, and no one is going to end it.
No one's going to end it. So then we move on to Bronwyn and Todd, and this was another difficult. This was, I'm just okay. I want to say right now, I am reassessing my feelings about him from the ice cream parlor scene, okay? I take it all fucking back. He's defended. He's cut off. He's looking at his phone. I thought there was hope for this man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. So I take it all back for now. I apologize to myself and everybody else. I apologize. I must have been in a very tender, empathetic moment when I said that. I had a lot of compassion. And I don't know that he's earned it from me, Todd. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that he has.
Well, and it's the same situation as Britani and Jared in some ways, because we hear Bronwyn in her confessional say, like, he reached out a few times. He says he's missing me. He wants to come home. We cut to the car where we hear the phone conversation. Hi. Hey, what's up? Well, I got your messages and you said you wanted to come home. Yep. Oh, this is him saying, I miss you. And no, that's all he has to give. And that is what is acceptable in their marriage. And that's fine. And then she walks in almost like timid to the house going like, Todd, are you home? And the fact that she doesn't know for sure that he'll be there is terrible, and talk about destabilizing. And then she sits down and says out loud, you can do this. She says to herself, you can do this. Across from her partner, her husband, you know what I mean? And he's sitting there with his head down, looking at his phone, like, what's up? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you seem really open in this moment to working on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He's the one who wanted to come home and Bronwyn's the one who has to start the conversation. Like, I don't like this. It's too much of this dynamic. It makes me nauseous.
There's nothing to like, man. There's nothing to like.
Except Bronwyn, so relatable in that confessional when she says, in the past, Todd has kept stuff from her that made her question how important she is to him. And it makes her wonder in what ways, if not in all ways, that she's not enough for him, not funny enough, not pretty enough, not present enough, not tall enough, not stylish enough. Talk about a manipulative power control dynamic. And again, both people participate. I've learned that myself. When there's a betrayal involved, diving into that headspace is like really, it's a chute, not a ladder down there. It's so sad.
So she's like, basically, is this my fault that he's looking at women on the plane, you know, and that learning about this has stirred up all those old feelings that she had last season that she talked about?
I really appreciated how clear she was with him, saying that she wants this marriage to work and she loves him as much as she possibly can. And she's opening to do whatever she can to keep this marriage intact. And if she wanted to do something different, she'd be open to it. And she leads him into a sex life conversation. And again, he's such a jerk. She mentions that she talked about their sex life with Whitney. And he's like, why would you talk to a bunch of basically gossiping bitches about our sex life? And Bronwyn said, I should be allowed to talk to friends about this. So again, I think I'm just feeling suffocated by the amount of controlling men. Again, people who have nothing to hide nothing. Don't behave like a dick bag if you don't want people to talk to you. If you want people to talk well of you, behave better, or take ownership of what you did instead of denying it and blaming and being a weirdo. Bronwyn came to him so generously, and I did not appreciate how he received her.
He tries to wrap it up and you can't be a CEO in your marriage. You have to be willing to compromise. And I don't know if Todd is a man that compromises in his professional life. He tries to wrap up this wildly nuanced and complex discussion and, negotiation of their marriage and the parameters of their marriage. And well, we discussed it. We resolved it. We're moving forward. Is the resolution in the room with us now, Todd? It's not.
And also, moving forward to me are two of the most toxic words I've ever heard. You work through something. You don't just go great, we talked about it, it's over, moving on. It's what?
Yeah, dude.
God.
Yeah, it was pretty bleak. And then she starts crying at the end of the conversation, and he does what a lot of men do. Oh, please don't cry. Oh, fuck you, dude. Stop being so, you know what? Fine, I'll stop crying when you're not so detached and when you're not so fucking unavailable. Oh, well, don't be detached, Todd. Don't be unavailable.
Or be detached and unavailable, but let's just talk about it so that I know those are going to be my circumstances. So I don't have to be surprised by you having been detached and unavailable and being caught engaging with women outside the marriage. She's really asking for so little, and he's really treating her like she's this hysterical nightmare woman who needs complete control over her husband. It's like she's just saying, like, just tell me what's really going on in this marriage and let me do my best to work with that. And then we can take it from there. Whatever. Enough. Let's go to church. So we go to Mary's. It's the day of the church reopening. This made me laugh so hard. She gets out in her big fancy red dress and her gloves, and she's trying to open the church door, and it's fully locked. And it reminded me of her. Remember when she went to Meredith's bat mitzvah? And she was late and knocking at the window that was right behind where Meredith was
that was
doing her
so
readings.
funny. Oh God.
Mary is just perpetually like locked out. Mary sits with her cousin Big Joe and notes that the nerves are nerving this morning. And then Big Joe, again, I really like how this family talked to each other. He said, "You came alone today?" And then Mary just very honestly and gently and factually without judgment says, "I got in the car with Robert Jr. I looked at him and he was high and I said no. And so he's not here." And that must have been heartbreaking. She's been waiting 2 years to open this church. I can't imagine she'd want anyone there more than Robert Jr. And it reminded me of that passage in the Big Book that talks about how, like, right before an important event, an alcoholic will often get super drunk or super high, like the night before a major job interview or the night before a wedding or something. Like, there's something in the addictive disease that's like, now's the time to fucking go all out and fuck it all up. He'll relate to that part of the Big Book should he ever continue in 12-step recovery. But that broke my heart for her. And then she just said, we have good days and we had bad days, and today was a bad day. And I love that take on recovery. It's progress, not perfection. It's not black and white. It's not linear. It's just trying.
Yeah. I mean, she sounds like she's been in Al-Anon for a while. I don't know if she has, but I'm just saying that, like, the way she's talking conceptually, there's only one other place I've heard you talk about it like that, and that is in Al-Anon.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then we see Whitney and Heather en route to the service. In Whitney's confessional, see, Whitney, goddamn, like, I like her. I do, in spite of myself. In her confessional, she says she's grateful that she and Mary are in this place now where she is being welcomed into her church, because there was a time when she thought that they wouldn't be. And then we see a flashback to, I don't know how many seasons ago, where Whitney was talking about the cult allegations, in regards to Mary's church, which I don't know if everyone's heard about this yet, but TLC is going to be airing soon a documentary about Mary's church.
January 1st, baby. Start 2026 with a 3-part series about Mary's cult. Potential cult. Yeah.
Goddamn. Oh, I can't wait. Sorry, Mary. So they are both discussing if Lisa and Meredith will show. And Whitney says if they do, it's going to be like 2 whores burning.
I mean, I do believe the saying is sweating like a whore in church. She really added an extra element by also burning them. I was like, good Lord.
Also, like, can we not with whores in church and all that shit? Like, God damn.
It's just so old.
It's so old.
And it's also like a ha-ha funny saying. It's not meant to be like, whatever. Anyways.
I know. So Bronwyn and Angie arrives, and Angie is like going up and hugging people we've never seen on our screen before. And Bronwyn muses that, yep, Angie knows a lot of these congregants, of course.
I love that. And later we find out Angie'd never been to this church before. So she's just that active in the community that she like knows all of these people. This was her first time at Mary's church, and here she is like the mayor of the walk-up.
I like her too, in spite of myself. So Heather and Whitney arrive, and the 4 of them are all theorizing, like they're all speculating, will they, won't they, will they, won't they, as in will Meredith and Lisa show up? So, and in fact, they do.
Together. And one
together.
of them, Meredith looked insane in a mini skirt, a walking boot, and a flat gold sandal. I was like, there had to have been a drapey pant that could have done you some favors. But maybe she just wanted to showcase her injury so that people would talk about that instead of the fact that she bullied and kicked and pulled Brittany's hair for 14 hours on a flight. I don't know.
See, Margie? You're doing the deep thinking. You're going underneath. You're going
I
underneath.
just, it was so glaring that I was like, that had to have been a deliberate choice. Otherwise, she's just insane to wear a giant black Velcro boot for her toe injury. Give me a break.
Well, it didn't work on Heather because she's like, oh, is your toe sprained from kicking Britney? That was kicking
And then
Britney's seat on the
there
plane.
was
Yeah.
silence until Lisa was like, she didn't kick and neither did I. And I was like, that is the response of a guilty party.
And the way she says it, like she's got a smile on her face, like she's super proud of herself in this moment. Neither of us touched Britney. Oh, she's so repugnant, dude. They move inside and Lisa and Meredith make a point of sitting apart from the rest of the cast. Mary takes the pulpit. She says she's rusty. She's crying. She's clearly emotional. She thanks God for a litany of things. And the congregants and her castmates are clearly moved. And in her confessional, she shares that she feels like her purpose is to be a messenger for God. She never plans what she's going to say. It just comes to her. I love that.
I believe her too.
I do too.
Because some people say that and I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. You just like the attention and being the center of what I actually believe she believes that and that might be a real thing. And then this was devastating. She says she's been thinking about her mom who passed, I thought it was only 2 months ago. And she was excluded from the funeral. She was not invited.
Jesus.
And she immediately jumps on that and goes like, that's okay. That's okay. But I just want to know, God, like, is her soul okay? And again, I was like, I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you're not mad that you weren't invited. I really believe you just care about, whatever her beliefs are in the afterlife. She wants to make sure that her mom's soul is somewhere peaceful. And then she basically gives a big ol' like God provides sermon saying whatever they need. And I did like this. She goes, whatever you need, my God will give it to you. Almost saying like, you don't have to believe, you don't have to know anything, but if you've heard my voice say, my God will give it to you, like my God is working on your case. And then she enumerates everyone in the cast. And I thought that was really sweet. Even
I do
Meredith.
too.
She was like, Mare, you're not meant to shoulder this alone. I thought it was sweet.
Oh, God. Lisa's confessional. She shares that she thinks that you can find what you need in any church, regardless of faith. Agreed. I agree with her on that.
I was with her up till that point.
Yes, she had me in the first half for a minute. I'm not going to lie. And then she says, yeah, you can find whatever you need, except for in the Church of Satan, who she makes donations to for real, she says. And then we learn it's donations of tequila. When they ask for her tequila, they say sure. So it's not really a donation. It's it's payola, man. This bitch.
She is gross, man.
Mary concludes the service on an energetic, rallying note, and we see a shot of Lisa sweating and fanning herself, and Whitney, in her confessional, says, I called it, 2 whores sweating in church.
I loved it. And I was happy for Mary because it seemed like a big, successful, rousing reopening of her church space. And like, I haven't watched the Cult of Mary documentary yet, so I don't have bad feelings about it at this point. I came from a much more subdued like church experience. So it was really interesting to watch like, oh, right, church is a place where you're just supposed to bear witness to each other's joy and grief and pain. And that's why there's all the dancing and crying and wailing and screaming. It's like once a week you get to go somewhere where all parts of you that you have to mask in your workplace or with your family, all parts of you are accepted and celebrated and meant to be seen and shared with that community. So I liked seeing it.
Fucking chock full episode, man. My God. My God. It was relentless. It took me on like such a high and low. Like my reactions were not like, oh, like this was not a put on the background and fold laundry episode. This was like, oh, like I felt the pings in my spots, my spots of relation, all over. So,
yep.
So far this season has been 10 out of 10.
So good. So good.
Friend, what else did you watch this week?
This week, I finished Selling Sunset, and it was great, and I've already forgotten everything that happened, so that is one of the delights of that show. I started watching the new season of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and it is what it is, but it's a very therapy-centric season. Everybody is having some experience of individual therapy, couples therapy. A number of cast members went away for 30-day treatment. Like to tend to their mental health, not for addiction, but because they were not feeling well mentally. Whatever else goes on in that show that's ridiculous, just to have something that has such wide viewership launch with like, oh, this cast member won't be joining us for 2 more weeks because she's inpatient. And this cast member has now gone inpatient, so we won't see her at this event. And these people are in couples therapy. This person's in specific trauma therapy. These people are in couples therapy and being referred to individual therapists. This is how I feel like the world should operate. I feel like everyone should feel safe and excited about exploring outside help. So that was great. And then I watched just, football and college football. We're in peak season right now, and Michigan played Northwestern, and they played at Wrigley Field at the baseball stadium. And my niece is in college in Chicago. So it was really fun to like see my college team play in her college city. So sports it's connecting. It just is. It's great.
You're not wrong. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're connected to your community of fellow fans.
And my family, because I got to talk to my niece later that day or later that weekend. And she was like, I was thinking of you because I saw these Michigan jerseys wandering around. And I was like, oh. And how about you? What did you watch this week?
Let's see. I watched The Real Housewives of Orange County. Fuck Dubrow. I'm done with her. I only like plant medicine Dubrow. I don't like any other fucking Dubrow. Fuck Heather Dubrow.
I didn't watch.
Fuck
Did
Heather Dubrow.
She made her standard judgmental distant showing.
No, that would have been welcome compared to the bullshit she did. So at BravoCon, she basically said, well, Gretchen has never been that way with my family, which Heather's family, her children, her queer children, because of their financial position, are never going to find themselves in the same position as the queer kids. For example, remember where we used to go to those meetings on Sunday morning? Right off of Santa Monica? I could cry. Those young people need protection from people like fucking Gretchen. Okay?
Well, and Heather's kids have the benefit of 2 parents who adore and accept them.
Exactly.
And the trans kids who seem most at risk have families who've rejected them. And then they deal with society members like Gretchen who freely spout hate with abandon. And that directly puts these human beings in harm's way. So that's disgusting and insufficient, Heather. For someone who claims to be an advocate, I'm shocked.
Exactly. I hope Trevor Project fucking drops her, dude. I hope
to
they
limit
drop
it
her.
to like my family's experience is like, oh, I've never experienced racism, so that must not be real.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I think there's a number of human beings who might have a different experience. That's really disappointing. I did not hear that.
Yeah, fuck her. Fuck her. Fuck all the way off. Potomac, I love it. It's exactly what I want in a housewife show. It's entertaining, it's effervescent, beautiful people, beautiful locations. Monique Samuels came back and she's got another fucking gray parrot. I don't know. It's just, it's such a lovely way to end the weekend because it's on
I love
Sunday
that I'm
nights.
1 week behind and like everything you mentioned is foreign to me. I'm like, what? Monique Samuels is back and another new parrot's in the mix. I love it.
So good. Some more old Roni. 2 episodes of The Morning Show, and then I dug into the dramatization of the Murdaugh murders. It's called Death in the Family. Patricia Arquette, man.
I was just going to say,
Patricia Arquette and Jason Clarke.
disappoints.
I have chills just saying their names, like the hair just up on the back of my neck. Their acting is fucking insane. Patricia Arquette is a goddamn master in her craft. She is not afraid of looking her age, her body size, both of which society, especially in Los Angeles, I know where she lives. I've been to her house. She's one of my friend's friends, and she's extreme. Like, what you see is what you get from Patricia. I don't pretend to think that she would know me on the street or remember the few times I've been to her house, but I'm just saying that, like, she goes there. She doesn't give a shit what she looks like. She lets ego go, and that's when artists can really shine. Jason Clarke, who plays Alec Murdaugh, is fucking resplendent. You would never tell that man has he's from Australia, like his southern accent's so good. My point is, it's a dramatization. I don't do true crime anymore when it comes to murder. I do true crime when it comes to scams and fraud and shit like that. I can't do murder for entertainment anymore.
Well, this is multiple murders And decades and generations of
I know.
corruption.
I probably not making sense, but like I'm saying, like I haven't been able to listen to My Favorite Murder in a long, long time. But this had so much to it. I watched all 7 episodes that have aired. I think the next one either dropped yesterday or today. I'm not sure, but I'm going to tuck into that tonight after my kid's asleep. And so then I started watching like other Murdoch documentaries that I hadn't seen. And so it was a good TV week.
Yeah, I remember when that was breaking. And
Holy
as
shit.
each family member got convicted of new weird shit, I was like,
My God.
whoa, this is a web. It's terrifying.
I've
and the
never
lengths
seen
they're
such a
willing to
web.
go to and the people they're willing to sacrifice for their own.
Hubris and ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not even for anything other than like maintaining an image. It's so weird.
Shakespearean, honestly.
Truly.
Yes.
I got to watch
yes.
that. Yeah, I love Patricia
Margie,
Arquette,
you'll
and I
love
love
it.
that
You'll love
story.
it. It's so good. It's so good.
so
Can't
glad you
recommend
brought
it
it
enough.
up.
It's on Hulu.
I was just going to say, yeah.
And what was your antidepressant, friend?
My antidepressant this week was, so we had like a massive rainstorm come through, and it was like 3 days of like downpouring rain, which never happens in Los Angeles. And after months of neglecting being like an active physical person, I'm slowly trying to work myself back into some sort of exercise routine. So I went to take a Pilates class at this gorgeous studio. It's called Silver Springs Pilates, and it has these vaulted ceilings with huge skylights. And usually they play music during a class, but I went to take a class on one of the days that it was downpouring. And the teacher just like turned off the lights and was like, I'm not going to play music. And so for the whole class, it's in a heated room. So it's like kind of steamy and sweaty, but the whole ceiling is skylight. So we were just watching clouds pass and then hearing rain like dropping, like pelting the roof. It was like beautiful. It was so beautiful to look at, and the class was challenging, but not like devastating. It was great. I left feeling that was an antidepressant. I walked in feeling like stiff and bothered by all the wetness and the problems parking. And I left being like, oh my God, nature's a miracle. I'm so lucky my body moves at all. What a gift. And like, it was just a total 180-degree shift in perception in, 50 minutes. So that was my antidepressant.
So
How about
meditative.
you?
Sounds
Right?
beautiful.
It
yeah,
was.
very. Let's see. So last week, I think when we recorded last week, I had just started having the house to myself for like 48 hours because my kid and my husband were on a school trip. So house to myself. I can't believe what I'm capable of when I have the house to myself and I am uninterrupted for 48 hours. It's miraculous, and I really enjoyed it. Let's see. I hit up a thrift store that I had been waiting a week for them to put out their Christmas stuff. And when I walked in, I was like, okay, this is all right. I made a turn and I found the tree decorated with the vintage shit. And I grabbed a basket and I just fucking hoarded stuff. And the prices I got for Shiny Brights, it's the thrill of the hunt. And then when I get it for like, I look over my shoulder and I'm like, do they know what? Am
I stealing?
Am I stealing? Right. So that definitely coked me up it still has, because I just reactivated myself by talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then full transparency, I have a plant medicine journey planned for this weekend with a plant medicine I've never used before. Again, therapeutic session. I will have 3 therapists with me. My ketamine therapist, well, she's now my other medicine therapist too, but her like co-therapist, whom I love, and then my regular therapist that I talk to every week. I'm going to be working with psilocybin for the first time. Speaking of my story that I was talking about in reference to like Lisa Barlow earlier, this is the medicine that is supposed to help me like letting go of my story, and like how I perceive people's behavior is like a target and an indictment. And it's not working for me anymore. I'm in too much pain about it, and I need some assistance. And so one of the things that people in psychedelic medicine talk about is the medicine starts working even before you've taken your first dose. It's like once you put it out there, once you know it's coming, be careful what you wish for, because it's coming. And so there have been a lot of very uncomfortable moments for me this week as I get closer and closer to doing this. but I don't mind being uncomfortable sometimes if it's going to be for my better good on the other side. I'm very intrigued and I'm here for the whole thing. Yeah.
I love that the actual treatment will likely be an antidepressant, but I love that just the anticipation of like support and more mental wellness is an antidepressant in and of itself. It's exactly what you just said. The medicine is working before the medicine has been administered.
Yep.
Hope is a powerful drug, baby.
It truly is. And then again, like after you do it, it more and more continues to reveal itself, like fast, slow, constant though, consistently. So I'm super excited. I'm super curious and open. So that feels good. And that's it.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week with more of these babes.
I actually don't know if we're going to be back next week because next week is Thanksgiving and we are going to Portland to visit my family. And unless we recorded in like the middle of the night and then I didn't get sleep in order to edit, there's just no time at
we're
all.
Not
so
doing that. We'll take a week off, vacation.
There is a new episode. Episode 11 they are airing it next Tuesday and we can touch on it the week after. But yeah, we won't have an episode next week. I'm sorry. I hate taking time off, but I don't know what else to do in this instance.
That's the whole point of this podcast is we always say at the end, take care of yourself.
You're right.
And so
you're right.
Vacation is a vital factor in mental well-being.
Yeah.
So
spending time with my family.
Literally I forgot that next week is Thanksgiving. So that's the only reason I said it.
But yes, everybody, on that note, on Margie's reminder, please take care of yourself. If you're going to travel and spend time with a family that triggers you.
Or if you're not, the holidays they're just like loaded, sometimes really positively and sometimes with some challenges.
Totally.
So
yeah.
Everyone just, stay close to your support systems.
Stay close to your support system and stay close to, stay on your own side.
Yeah.
And don't take what people do personally if you can. I know that's the hardest thing on the planet. For me, it is.
I would love, yes, I cannot
I know.
give
You're
that
like,
advice
okay,
because
Ramona.
No, it is sound advice. I just can't give it because I have yet to ever take it. So once I've successfully ever taken that advice, I'll be able to be like, it feels great.
Same.
But I can't do it.
Well, I love you, friend. Everybody,
love you
happy
too.
Thanksgiving week. And we'll be back the week after.
We'll be back in a couple weeks.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.